Okay, let me walk you through what's going to happen on this worksheet today. We are reviewing concepts from 8th grade. As far as exponents go, this is our introduction to exponents. That's going to be our new unit. Okay, so just basic concepts, and then it's going to be independent work. Here we go. When we have, first of all, how do we say this? This is 2 to the 5th power. This 2, this large number, is called our base. This teeny tiny number up top is called our exponent. An exponent represents repeated multiplication. When I multiply over and over and over again, it's time to utilize an exponent. Exponents can be positive numbers, or negative numbers, or whole numbers, or I'll write fractions here, but they're typically called rational numbers. Okay, we can have positive numbers, positive exponents, negative exponents, whole exponents, and fraction exponents. Okay, now, in this above example that I gave you, 2 to the 5th power, 2 to the 5th represents 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I'm multiplying the 2 how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And what does that give me? It's not 10. It's not 2 times 5. It's 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. Times 2 is 32. How is this different from 2 times 5? Well, first of all, we know 2 times 5 equals 10. But how are they different? 2 times 5 represents 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So we can see that multiplication is addition being repeated over and over and over again, and we multiply to save time. Well, exponents are numbers being multiplied over and over again, and we use exponents to save time. Okay, now we're going to go to this next section, which you're going to do independently. This is very easy. You're just typing numbers into your calculator. I just want to introduce you to 2 new calculator keys. If you haven't seen them already, you probably have. I believe we've used them this year. This is the caret key. This is the raising to a power key, any power. And this is the raising only to the 2nd power key. Okay, so let's use it. So if I want to type 3 to the 2nd power, I can type 3. And since I'm using the 2nd power, since I'm squaring, this is the shortcut button. It squares it for me. Boom. It's been squared. For any other power, I can use this, but I can also use it for the squared key as well. 3 raised to the 2nd does the exact same thing for me. But I can also do 3 raised to the 5th. Okay, so now you know there are 2 buttons. This is for fast squaring, and this is for any power. And if my power is a fraction, I can do that too. I can do 36 raised to the 1/2 power. And it'll continue, my calculator will continue to write up here in the exponent section until I use the right arrow key and come out of there. And then it'll type normal again. Okay, so my calculator will continue to use the superscript feature until I use my right arrow key and come out of there. So what is 36 to the 1/2 power? Interesting. 36 to the 1/2 power. Interesting. I wonder what 100 raised to the 1/2 power is going to look like. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and play around with those and get that done. Pause this video and get this section done. Next, this section right here, I want you to be aware that you should be careful of signs and parentheses when dealing with exponents. Okay? It doesn't seem like it would be different if my negative was outside or inside, but it does turn out differently for some reason. If all I try is, let's try the first section. I'm just going to let you guys type those in. You guys know how to do this, but be careful. When it says parentheses, and then, here, let me clear everything for you. If it says parentheses -5 and my exponent is outside, fast square key, then that's exactly how I'm going to need you to type it. As opposed to this one, where the negative is outside, and then my 5 is inside the parentheses, and then I fast square it, okay? Notice, exponent outside of the parentheses on both cases. Be picky about that. And then I want you to see if you can come up with a conclusion. In conclusion, placement of the negative inside or outside the parentheses is key. All right, so I want you to go ahead and try that section. Pause this video and try that section. For the third and final section, I want you to fill in each table. So I can do one table with you. Okay? Notice the instructions. Use only fractions, no decimals allowed. So whatever answer we get, we're going to make sure we are not keeping it as a decimal. We're going to convert it to a fraction. So I've got 10 squared. I get 100. Then I've got 10 to the first power. Raise it to a special power. Use the caret key. 10. I've got 10 raised to the 0 power. How many of you thought it would be 0? It's 1. Okay? 10 raised to the -1 power. Remember, no decimals allowed. Math, enter, enter. 1/10. And then 10 raised to the -2 power. No decimals allowed. Math, enter, enter. And we get 1/100. Okay? I want you to complete all the following tables just like that. Notice, here it's only variables. So by the time you get here, I'm going to need you to have found a pattern so you can put your best guesses here. Do not try to type X into your calculator and get an answer. That's not going to work. You need to find a pattern here and put your best guesses here. All right. In conclusion, I want you to see if you can find a pattern right here. All these to the 0 powers. Let's see if you can find a pattern. And I want you to put that here. And then tell me in words. Then, I want you to see if you can find a pattern for this negative exponent. What do you see here that's happening with these negative exponents? And you try to describe that as best as you can right here. At the end of the class period, we will go over all conclusions together. Good luck.